Welcome to the Cohostbros podcast, where we break down everything short-term rentals, entrepreneurship, and building a profitable hospitality business. Whether you're a host, investor, or property manager, we share real strategies, real insights, and real experiences to help you scale smarter and grow faster. Let's dive in.
What up, party people in the place to be? My name is Matt Codd. We're here with another episode of the Cohostbros podcast. With me, I have my home skillet, Austin Spitz, and I have a special guest today, Mr. Justin Powell from Seabrook Vacation Management. Justin's going to tell us his story, how he went to over 20 listings in less than a year, and how, just everything about him. So what's going on, Justin? Welcome to the show.
Hey, thanks for having me on, y'all. Appreciate you very much.
Yeah.
Nice.
You want me to just
Happy to have you here,
jump
man.
right into it?
Yeah, for sure. Just if you don't mind, give us a little background. How'd you get into the short-term rental space? Did you start by owning first? Give us a little background of like kind of how you got into the space.
So we let's go back to high school. I did not grow up around real estate at all, and my best friend's dad, he is a real estate investor, and he had well over 100 single family homes. And he would just preach and preach, and I would listen and absorb. And I thought, I want to do this. And he instilled that passion for me. So go off to college, go off to grad school, get out, finally able to make some purchases, and picked up a very small two bed, one bath house for, I think I bought this for $18,000, full well knowing that, I have no idea what the heck I'm doing, but 18,000 I was willing to gamble. And that snowballed into three or four. We did a flip. We went in and partnered with some very close friends of ours and bought an apartment complex that we almost lost during COVID. Um, and when we had our kids, COVID had destroyed our small little town in southern Illinois, central Illinois, actually. And we had friends and family already living in Huntsville, Alabama. And my wife said, maybe we should go there and take a visit. And I said, well, maybe. And I have a medical degree. I'm a nurse anesthesiologist full time.
He'll put you to sleep.
Well, I was full time. Hopefully not with my words, right? And so I said, well, I haven't looked for jobs. I don't know anything. And my wife said, like, just call and explain your situation. Long story short, made a few phone calls, had 2 job offers, went back to back weekends. We moved here. We said, so we have a little bit of money left over. What should we do? Well, we're 5 hours away from Gulf Shores Beach, and always a bucket list, right? And so we looked. I found Avery Carl's book, and that was the start of that education. Just shortly thereafter, I found the Cohostbros podcast, and
Yeah.
I purchased a 1 bed, 1 bath. We purchased a 1 bed, 1 bath down in Gulf Shores. Pitched it to, at the time, because I didn't know any better, Vacasa, right? If you know nothing else and you Google vacation rental management, you are going to see Vacasa. And I called them, and they said, hey, we charge 25 to 30%. We'll do 25,000 a year on your condo. And I thought, dear Lord, this is barely going to cover anything. And then I said, well, what all does this cover? What do you do? And she goes, well, we do the basics. We market, we photo, we get it cleaned, all the things, right? And she said, but if there's an issue, we're going to give you a list of vendors and we're going to expect you to call and arrange. And so I said, I think I can do this myself. And that first year, because we bought it in January, we ended up somewhere short gross wise of about $60,000 on that condo. And that's just what we've done ever since.
So you didn't sign the contract with Vacasa?
Nope, we went all into self-management. Cohostbros, Avery Carl, her husband Luke. You just find other people to be your mentor. I mean, we already kind of knew the basics about real estate investing, right? Because I kind of grown up around it, obsessed. It was my true inner passion. Um, and so it's so exciting to be living that side that genuinely fulfills you. I mean, we change as we grow. And while I love what I do, and I went to school for a long time to do this job, I don't know if I'd ever walk away from it completely, maybe a few days a month in the hospital, but um, this is genuinely what lights a fire. Like kind of like what Bill said, right? Like you drive to the next state for free for 3 hours to talk to somebody about it, even though you might not get anything out of it.
So, I appreciate the fact that you listened to our show and plugged that and let us know that we were a part of your journey. So that makes me feel good because we put out all these episodes and we have people like yourself that are listening to them. So I think that's awesome. Do you have anything in mind of like a particular episode that stuck with you that we've done that you're like, I really enjoyed that episode, or like maybe Matt was a huge douche on this episode, right? Like anything like that stick out to you?
All of them,
You know,
baby. All of
the,
them.
the the few things that stick out, and you're probably not gonna like hearing this. I love it when y'all go on tangents, and then the F bomb keeps getting dropped, blah blah blah, because you're just real people with real shit. And then Matt goes, "I'll edit that out." And then you're listening to the podcast, and you're because I'll be driving to work, sipping coffee, and you almost spit it out because you have the realization that it didn't get edited out. But for the most part, HostBuddy AI changed our business. Um, that is probably and I know it's one of your much later episodes, but you had a few so early on where you were talking about how you were doing the co-hosting model, how you were making it work, where you were finding people, how you were kind of structuring your contracts and some of your business related things to that. And that all just for me, just kind of snowballed everything, really.
Yeah, so sometimes I like to, pound my chest and say, I got 10 clients in my first year of doing it, but you're saying you got 20, and that's very impressive, man. I think that's super cool. What is what's been like for somebody that's listening and building a co-hosting brand or business? What has been like the most impactful thing for you to go to 0 to 20 in a year's worth of span? Like what is your secret sauce? Any tips, any tricks? What got you to 20 properties so quickly?
You know, this conference has really impacted me. And so I hate to keep referencing it, but it's hard not to. So Coach Michael Burt talked about your activation words. And I think referencing that for myself would be lion-hearted, or to be noble, courageous, fierce, and to be vulnerable with people and to let them know that you're just a person, but that you can also provide them with value. So you have to be brave and courageous. Social media is your biggest outreach tool that you have. I have sourced every single client off of Facebook groups in my area. And when you can provide them with value, when you can present a case study, it's just like Bill said, right? I mean, I literally brought them a projection of a casa, and then brought them a projection um, of my own personal place doing 60,000 a year, and said, I can help you. I will help you. Let's just jump on a quick call. And if I'm not the right person for you, that's fine. But once you start putting yourself out there and you have the momentary realization, I love music and I find such inspiration from it. And I believe it was Drake who said, it's real when you are who you think you are. When you start to really embody that and you live that for whatever it is that you want to be or what you want to do in this space, and you put yourself out there, people will attack you, they will cut you down. And because, while there's enough in real estate for everybody to go around, you're taking money out of someone else's pocket. So they will come for you. I've been turned into the Alabama real estate exchange like twice now. Actually, my business is Seabrook VM. It's not vacation management because I can't use the word management because that misrepresents that I'm a co-host. I just don't have it in me to correct Matt. And then,
My bad.
I had a few things on my Facebook page, Seabrook VM, that misrepresented that I was a co-host and not a property manager, or misrepresented the opposite of that. And so, but you have to really put yourself out there, and once you do, it will get noticed. Once you add value, you will get found. And you may have to take a client or two that you don't want to. I was just telling Matt that this week I had 3 phone calls with small condos that just don't fit the buy box of what we're looking for anymore. And I've been passing those leads off to inner circle members for Bill Faith's group, or trying to help someone get a start. And people are like, nah, that's not really for me, man. And that's fine. But, that's what you have to do to get started.
Yeah, I think that's definitely a good point there. We have that same issue where there's certain people, and like a lot of times we can't find people to give these houses to, and it's like if you're really serious about starting this business, you just say yes to those in the beginning so you can get your reps in and you can learn. So I like how you said that, and I think that's a great way to get clients to provide value, right? To give them as much help as they possibly need, and then kind of not really asking for anything in return, and then eventually it's gonna come back your way, right? So I love that. I guess from going to 0 to 20 properties, like what what was the spark for you? Like what was the why behind it? Like why did you just decide, hey, like I'm gonna go all in on this and do this? Was it like some kind of sense of purpose that you had, or were you like, hey, I really want to get out of this nurse anesthesiology thing? Like there is a serious why that has to be in place to go from 0 to 20. People don't just do that, right? There's something. What was it for you?
It's trifold. It's complex, and it starts with a very small story. We were at our condo. We own two, and we were there with our family having fun, and we are very social people, and we made some friends sitting around the pool, and they said, wow, you guys are really good at this. Like, we've been thinking about buying a place in the same building. Like, if we bought it, would you manage it for us? And we said, nah, but we got some people in mind. We pass you off to, or like, you can do this yourself. Let me help you. Let me give you a few recommendations, a few good podcasts, a couple books. And on the way home, Leslie, my wife, she looked at me and she said, because we've been talking about it for a year or two, and just said, maybe we should. And I was like, maybe, I don't know. And then we just get home, and just this realization that that's what we want to be immersed in. And yes, there's some selfishness in there, right? Where um I don't want to shit on everyone's dreams out there of being a vacation rental owner. It's expensive. If you don't run it right, you'll break even. But what you forget about is the appreciation that you'll gain on the back end that most people forget about, and the leverage that you'll have to use. But you know I've always believed, and I know this sounds bad, but there's more money to be made, almost, I think, sometimes, in selling the dream than owning the dream, right? Like, that's a horrible thing to say, but if you don't have any skin in the game, then obviously your end is a little bit higher. So we're like, well, I wonder, what we could really do with this, if we could use this to propel ourselves. And then somewhere along the way, through the process, just genuinely madly fell in love with it, and decided to just completely, once again, embody that whole thing, and just go all in, just push all the chips into the center of the table. And Leslie and I are working on getting our real estate license now. We'll hopefully have that by the end of the year. Yeah, and it's hard to walk away from the job that I have. I'm a high earning W-2 person, so it's not like I make an average median income. But I don't know that's what I want either. And so it's starting to live my life every day with intention and purpose, and knowing that I want to do the things that fill me and fuel me, and give back and teach and educate and help, because I really think that, well, one, I know, and Bill told me that I've been charging way too low for way too long. But also the fact that these people that know nothing, they buy this place expecting all these big dividends. I can't tell you the number of places I've taken over. Like, I took over a house last year, did $9,000 for the year, and year to date we're at almost 60. Like, this dude's over the moon. He's looking at buying another place. I mean, it's just genuinely trying to help. Like, you make money, I make a little money, everybody's happy. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean it's tough, especially doing what you're doing, and I know you've had a lot of trials and tribulations, and yes, I don't edit when I say I'm going to edit on purpose, because that reason right there, when you told me that, it confirmed it for me. We talked before, I've only edited one thing ever out of the podcast, and it was something that I said. But tune into my water heater video if you want to hear me say the same thing. I edited out. Yeah, so it's like, it was tough. You had a tough journey. I mean, you told me that when we were talking at the conference that you were like, charges were brought against you twice or something, for property management or something like that. Can you explain that and explain what happened?
So
Because
that's
I
a
want people
scary
to
moment.
understand that things happen. I want people to understand, like when you said like earlier that you almost lost your apartment complex in COVID, like that's the shit that people don't say. And that's the stuff that people do need to say and need to tell people these things, because there's hard things in everything you do in every business you're in. So it's like, when you share those things, I feel like that's more impactful for people than if you just share like, "Hey, I'm a winner." I went from 0 to 20 in a year. So tell us the hard story. Tell us what happened with that.
So the pathway from, starting to success is never just a straight line. Like it's up and down and back and all over the place, right? The apartments was a great deal. I was so naive and so green. And it's funny, it's almost like being a teenager. Like you think you know everything. I'm sure you know about that, Matt. And I put together this deal with this owner. He was tired. He wanted out. He's a burnt out landlord trying to retire. And I said, hey, you've got two buildings back to back as part of this apartment complex. Like owner finance one, let me bank finance the other. The one that's got the laundry room attached to it, let's make that evaluation higher. You want down payment money? Great. Let's roll that into the bigger building. That way it's less cash out of pocket for me. Set up a whole seller finance deal, contract for deed on one, bank finance on the other. Thank God, through clever marketing, sold that place just before I thought we were about to lose it. We bought it during COVID. Didn't know COVID was going to happen. And I'll never forget the day we closed on it was the day shit started. We get a call from a tenant who's late on rent. This guy would haunt me for the next 18 months. And he said, quote, I don't have to pay you fucking shit. And I won't. And there's nothing that you can do about it. Which I thought was a lot of balls. Like we're from the Midwest. So people use the F word like folks in the South say y'all. And I'm like, that takes some balls just to call your new landlord and say. Um, he squatted through raves, parties, horrific case of bed bugs through the whole building. Um, People just stopped paying rent. The moratoriums got passed down. They didn't have to pay rent. We found mold and mildew in, I'm not, I'm the business side of this. I'm not the hands-on side, but whatever these structural beams are that go underneath the floors, the floor joists maybe, had to have those ripped out. There's other issues that I don't know if I even want to disclose on this podcast, but for liability reasons. But you know, we got very creative, put together a great deal, flipped it, walked away with almost $100,000. I mean, I took every penny out, reinvested it back into fixing up the inside of the unit, and then the AREC thing basically just. I think it's just pissed off realtors who just and I get it. You're taking money out of their bag, out of their pocket, and they say, hey, like you can't do this. We have co-hosts flooding the market. And I don't want people that don't know what they're doing coming in and making a bad name for themselves. So educate yourselves first, please. Like you need to get a license. You need to get, errors and emissions insurance for yourself. You need to have a liability policy. You need to have all these things in place and know what you're doing and have good connections. Otherwise, you shit on the rest of us. And so I think there maybe was some concern over that and just, you can't do this. Who's your broker? This, that, the other. Um, Ashley Cohen Guy, for me, she doesn't know it, but she's been a short-term rental mentor of mine. I got her name through another girl named Alicia, who also co-hosts in the Gulf Shores area and does a fabulous job and the sweetest person I've ever met. And just the connections, making the connections. And she's like, hey, here's what you can do. Here's what you can't do. Here's how you protect yourself. here's what's going to happen. And it's just a nasty email. And I actually got a phone call and got my ass ripped. I'll never forget that either, because we were in Cancun. I don't drink, like next to never. It's not because I've had bad experiences. It's just alcohol makes me sick. And I had indulged with my wife. We met this lovely group of people at the beach bar. And I am on a scale of 0 to not being drunk and 10 being white girl wasted. I was like a solid 6 to a 7, okay? And it comes across my phone and says, Baldwin County Revenue City Supervisor or something. And Leslie looks at my phone because I'm very quick with responses. She goes, I think you should just let that go to voicemail. And I'm like, I don't know. I think I should pick it up. I didn't. And basically someone again reported me to them, and they're like, hey, we have this whole spreadsheet. We have all these things. Like, you have to give us your information. And she's like, how are you doing your business? And so I told her, and thank God for Ashley. And I managed to skirt the whole thing with a nasty slap on the hand, but you learn very quickly what you can and can't really do. But they will come for you.
So were
So
you actually doing something wrong? Sorry, Austin.
no, that was my question. I was going to say, like, what
Oh
did
yeah.
you do? What was if you want to share, what were you doing that you shouldn't have been doing for people that are in markets where they do need it? And I guess every market's different, right? But for this market where it's divided, where if you want to be a property manager and collect funds, you need to be a broker versus if the loophole for that is you set up a co-hosting business. So was it like from a marketing perspective, or what were like the things that they were trying to slap you on the wrist about that you were
So
doing as that a PM should have been doing, a co-host should not have been doing?
So the things that I was doing, I was using the title vacation management, which misrepresented my position. I was marketing other people's properties. So like I would take and just post their link and say like, rent me, check this place out. And then a couple of the other things was I would say in some of my ads, like, hey, do you need help managing your place? I can manage this for you. So just a lot of verbal things that were innocent and honest mistakes. And
So
so now
how do you say you're gonna you're gonna manage their property, but you say you couldn't say that?
hmm
So what are
That's
you
right.
gonna say? I will help you with co-hosting
You
duties? Like,
you synonym the shit out of this thing with host, co-host, help, represent, um, and you just get very clever at utilizing the verbiage that you need to get through to owners.
okay, so the two were the verbiage you were using, and what was the other one? Was it marketing you said? What was the first one? It slipped my mind.
Marketing.
You can't do direct bookings. Is that what it was? Like you can't market the property?
Well, you can't post someone else's property with the intent to um, collect a booking from it, basically. So even though the booking is happening through Airbnb or Verbo or even a direct site, you still can't even publish that. Now, say you have a direct site through Hospitable, I think that may be the gray area, the loophole, if you will, um, because theoretically you're just posting your direct booking page, and then should they choose to book through there, the owner still has ownership rights over. I don't know, man. It gets all wildly complicated. At this point, I might just be looking for a broker to sponsor me.
Yeah, that's what I've always figured. Like, dude, there's always a way. Like, I mean, I don't know how the structure works, and maybe I shouldn't speak on it because I don't know. But I would imagine if you just get a broker to sponsor you and figure out the legal way so they get paid too, give them a piece of the pie and move on with your life so you can structure it and have a sellable asset at the end of the day. So while you've gone down this road of setting up a co-host business, it might be something you want to reevaluate later, and it might be a pain in the ass to restructure it. But at the end of the day, it's probably likely a good move to make, I would think.
Yeah, we like the co-hosting model. It's simple. It shifts a lot of the liability back to the owner. Um, but there's a lot of political and red tape that you have to cross to even get to where this is. And so I think that should you just say, well, I'm sponsored by broker, you know, co-host bros, then you'd be in the, safe zone with less people coming after you.
That's wild. So you're not getting reported now, right? So
Mm-mm.
your
No.
marketing, I think your marketing is great. The things that you write is great. I think that you have a lot of good storytelling abilities, and I think you should be like an email marketer undercover. Um, like we've told you before, like the way you sold your house or your condo, and
Oh God.
it was just ridiculous. And you just
We
I don't
have
know if
to.
you've seen his post, Austin. He wrote a whole big ass post when he was selling his condo and basically told them not to buy his house,
I
and
said
then he
this place
sold
is
it.
a piece of shit. Well, that, and then
It was,
I think my wife would be, upset if I didn't tell the rat and pizza story and the pig story.
oh
So
yeah, you were gonna
we,
tell us about it. So tell us the story about the pizza, the
Proceed.
pig,
uh,
and the rat. Proceed.
so this is the crazy shit that you will come across while co-hosting that you don't expect to ever encounter, and you have no idea how to handle it, and you just manage it. So get a call or a message from a guest. Hey, I think you guys have mice. It's not a big deal because we're leaving today. We're throwing it out anyways, but there's little nibbles out of the bread and the plastic bags that were on the kitchen table. Thought nothing of it. Okay, next guest checks in. It's a Saturday. They're checking in. Sunday morning. Weekend before was hectic. Was hoping that, hey, this is going to be a low key, chill weekend because I spent most of my day on the phone with Airbnb. So I wake up. I literally say, fuck. That wakes my wife up. She's like, what's going on? I'm like, have you seen this picture? She has the picture. I don't have the picture. It is a giant fucking piece of pizza stuck through the wall, and like half of it is through the wall. Apparently, there was a good little hole behind the sink, or not behind the sink, but behind the toilet that no one had caught or seen. Maybe it was a soft spot, maybe it wasn't. I don't know. The owner's like, yeah, I forgot that was there. We should have had that patched over. I didn't catch it either. So, um, the the rat or mouse that carried this thing carried it from the countertop in the kitchen all the way through the house, down the hallway, and through the wall. And it is a giant slice of pizza. Needless to say, she got most of her stay paid for. She got her pizza paid for. She's like, we were going to eat that pizza like the next day. We had leftovers. Um, why'd you leave it out? I don't know, but
Yeah, it's not very healthy.
um,
Leave it on the counter.
well, they like a little penicillin on their pizza, I guess, like the Ninja Turtles say. So then the pig story, get a call from the HOA. It's dinner time here. And this lady is losing her ever loving mind. Justin, I'm calling security. I'm calling the sheriff. This person needs to be evicted right now. They have a dog. They have a dog in their unit. They were seen walking this dog by the pool, seen walking this dog down the beach in a pink leash and collar. Call the guest. Calm down. So I call the guest, explain the situation. I'm like, "Do you have a dog?" You know, and she's like, "No, we don't have a dog. We have a pig." "What do you mean you have a pig?" "Well, we came down here and we just saw the cutest little teacup pig, and so we bought it." "So you have a pig in the condo?" "Well, we have a pig in the condo." "So it was a pig you were walking on the beach?" She's like, "Yeah, it was a pig we were walking on." I'm like, "Hey," at this point it's moved over to messaging. And I am trying to also bait the guests into sending pictures and all these things because she has had a horrific experience because the HOA is knocking on the door, security's banging on the door, harassing them, telling them if they don't get the pig out of here in like an hour, they're going to be evicted by the police. And I'm like, this is not going to end well for the owner of this place. So she ends up sending me a picture of this cute little teacup pig with a pink leash and pink collar on sitting on the owner's couch. And Leslie's like, this is going to be our new mascot for Seabrook, you know?
Yeah.
You should use it.
There was a a girl in college that she would go around and everybody in the community knew her, and she was the girl that had like a little pig, but it was like domesticated and behaved like a dog. Is that like the kind of thing you're talking about? Like,
Yes, yes. It's just a little pig, like the size of a little puppy, just fit right in your hands. And I'm just like, I don't think these pigs stay petite like this forever. Like, this thing's probably gonna grow. So they ended up finding the person they bought it from who agreed to hold it overnight because it's also their last day there, and they're going to come pick it up. They had a full photo shoot with this cute little pig on the beach, just living its best life. I'm sure it freaked some people out, but
You're lucky you patched the
Wow.
hole, or the rat would have dragged the pig through it.
we
Yeah.
did the next day.
That's
That's a
wild.
pretty ambitious rat there. Like I like how the rat was like, no, dude, if I'm gonna go for this, I'm going all in. I'm taking the whole slice and I'm gonna get it all. But he didn't get it all, but he went after his dreams, and I can appreciate that.
That's what we're all trying to do, right? I like how you tied that in.
Yeah.
Touche.
What you
He's
got,
good at
Matt? You
that.
got something?
Yeah. So, what's your plan? Like, what's your goal? Like, okay, actually, let's actually talk about. So, you were talking about the short term rental wealth conference. Me, you, Austin went. Austin really didn't go. I just photoshopped him into a whole bunch of photos. So if you want to see Austin at the conference, you can just check out my Facebook page. But I think they're pretty good too. I mean, man, I should charge people for this. But thank you, CapCut. Uh, I want to talk about the journey because I mean, I've been telling you to charge more too for a while. So I want to talk about the journey of you finally clicking and saying, you know what, I have to get rid of some of these clients. And then I want you to kind of tell everybody like how your first call went. Actually, tell us the first two, because I think one, you fired somebody before they even signed. You already had a contract sent out to them. And then somebody else
Yeah.
you had fired. So
So,
tell us about that.
so that story, we were at the conference. We joined Bill's inner circle. I think Leslie sending me all this stuff on her phone, texting during Coach Michael Burt's session, going like, "Hey, we need to do this. We need to do something different. Something's got to change. We're trying harder, but nothing's changing. Like we can't take on 50, 100 properties to get to where we want to be. That's not what we want." And his words really activated her and myself. And so I think subconsciously we had always thought that like I'm not going to pay money to join someone's mastermind or inner circle. Like that's nuts. But the connections that you make are powerful, and the teachings and the education you get are also powerful. So we meet Bill, we sign, we have a great time, and just still riding that high, mass endorphin release going. I can't take on this person we just signed, Leslie. She's like, I know. And I'm like, this, it's like, I don't like um, confrontation. I try to avoid it. I'm like, do you think I could just text them? She's like, no. She's like, take the two extra steps, get on the phone. So I get on the phone. I say, hey, guest, hey, owner, I know we had this in place, but I can't, I just can't do this. We can't take you on. And I didn't know what the hell I was going to say. So at this point, I'm just rolling with the punches. Like whatever comes out of my mouth, it is unfiltered and it is going to come. There's no stopping it. I have no idea. And thank God I'm good on my feet for the most part. And I just said, hey, look, we had a few issues when he questioned me with other owners, which is not a lot, that we don't want to see happen to you. And we realize that we don't have enough systems and processes in place to support you the best way that we would like to. And that I have some recommendations for some terrific co-hosts and or property managers in the area that we think could support you in the way that you need and give you that personalized attention and care that you're after. And after I said that, he backed down, but he was I fucking rate the entire time. Um, and then that was just kind of it. I sent him a couple recommendations. I sent his number to a few of the inner circle people. Nobody wanted him. So, fine. Um, the
Was this an existing client or somebody that you were like about to take on board that you were like red flags, I'm now acknowledging the red flags, I'm not going to take you, or is this somebody have you been working with for a while?
so long story short, I just signed this person. Like just. And we were gonna onboard. We were going to go live in 3 days after the conference, 4 days. And I'm like, this is shitty. I admit this is shitty. And I apologize profusely. I'm a compassionate individual. Like, you don't go into what I do without some sense of compassion. Um, but with that said, it had to be done. Bill and all of his talks on the pumpkin plan. I've been reading a lot of Mike McAllowitz lately. I started Profit First, backed into Clockwork because it meshed more with what we're needing to do, and then stopped that, and then backed into Person of Interest. And I just finished that. It's actually a really short book, really good, but I think I'm gonna have to read it, listen to it again to really let it soak in. But we just let that propel us, and knowing that we have to prune the garden so we can make room for the bigger people. Like, I'm having a call tonight with a new client who's got a beautiful 4 bed, 3 bath down in Gulf Shores, like a block off the water. And I can't give her the attention that she deserves, that she needs, without letting some people go. Now, the next person that we let go, we did yesterday. We let 3 people go yesterday, actually, and just not fun. One gal, she's picky and demanding, and she was like, "That's fine." We're like, "Okay, good. That was easy." The next guy, he did the wow. Okay, so that's how this is gonna be, dude. You're a nice guy, but you're emotionally draining to me. You're the one person that when you call, I cringe. I don't want to answer my phone for you. But I do, because that's the level of respect that I deserve you. But every time I tell you something, you circle around me and you come back to get your way. And finally, I just break down and go, Let let's try it. What's the worst that'll happen? What the worst that'll happen is you'll message me at midnight, upset. I'll climb into all the data because we're really big data nerds, and I'll give you a full-on report and show you how you fucked yourself and how I was trying to help you. And then you'll back off and go, "You were right. Please undo everything I demanded you do," and then move forward. And that's the problem with being a co-host too, is that you don't have that full power and authority over people. You also have to be subservient to some extent. And then the next person was I was doing a revenue management contract for somebody. I was representing the daughter, her place down in Gulf Shores, and her mom has a place on Lake Smith by Bill. But every time I made recommendations or I made this, that, or the other, she's like, "I just can't do that." It's like, "Well, I just really can't help you the way that I want to." Um, and so we let her go as well. And I felt guilty about taking her money every month because I don't feel like I earned it or deserved it. And I think part of that is the confidence boost that you have to give yourself too, right? And that's probably why we've been undervaluing ourselves all this time up until now.
Damn, dude, that was like a really good monologue, man. Like that, there's so much to like unpack there. The first thing I want to say is like this industry is not for the weak, like balancing guests and owner management. And I think one thing that I take away that you've got to be able to do, which is great to hear that you're sharing this, is like the ability to have those uncomfortable conversations with owners. And you have to do that because if you don't, you're going to be a yes man, and it's not going to be, hey, we're like, we do this every day. We have to set some sort of boundary with somebody. Like, it is what it is. It's just
Yep.
part of the business. And you know that's a hard thing to realize because you can get yourself in this spiral where it's like, hey, for this guy over here, he barks enough, and we say yes, and we say yes, and we say yes. And then it becomes something that's emotionally draining. And the battle is always hard of setting those expectations as soon as you can up front of like, hey, no, we don't do this way. And you're going to get upset about it and you're going to have to get over it. And having those
Yep.
conversations is difficult, and being able to articulate your words because you want to say it a certain way, but the way that you want to say it is going to upset somebody. They're not going to take it the
Of
way you want to
course.
say it. So the
Yeah.
hard part is being able to have these uncomfortable conversations and being able to articulate it correctly. And that's what I think that you're learning there. And I'm still working
Oh
on that
man.
myself every day. So that's the tough part, right?
This guy got after me. I told him a dozen times, like, "Hey, I'm not turning this over to air cover unless it's $200 in expenses or more. Like, I'm just not doing it." We talked with Wayvo. We're talking to Happy Guest here soon, but we're gonna start implementing something different. instead of just relying on air cover solely. But um, you know, the littlest thing. Hey, it's $75. Charge the guest. I'm not charging the guest. And finally, this last time, he's like, "Well, if you want charge the guest, then I'm putting a sign that says, 'Here's my Venmo. Damages are charged at a rate of like $85 an hour.'" It's like that's not the way I do business, man. Like part of this is, you know, pa- part of the loss is just part of doing business. Like, I mean, shit happens, stuff gets broke, but like, I'm not gonna charge this mom because she was doing a load of laundry and she broke your bifold doors by opening them and they fell off. I mean, yeah.
Yeah. Some people are too like that's another red flag I look for is the level of emotional attachment that people have to their property. That's a problem. Are you looking at it as a business or are you looking at this of like how emotionally attached are you to this? And that's going to be like a deal breaker for me, right?
Yes.
And it's like you don't but you don't know what you don't know, so you've got to get screwed over a number of times until you realize, hey, I remember when I did this way back when with so and so, it didn't work, and am I going to make the same mistake, or am I going to analyze and realize that that's you know a red flag that I need to say no to? So it's hard in the moment to just be like, I got to say no to this person. Well, I really want to grow my business, but I need to say no to this person, right? So that's good. And I think you don't know what you don't know until you're there. So like going back to the pumpkin plan, I love that book. I'm really terrible at explaining the book, but I understand the concept, right? Like, but at the end of the day, like that's another interaction that I had with Bill Faith that I appreciate him for. Is when I met with him, I was like, "Hey, I got these two properties I just signed. Whatever they make this much, whatever, whatever." And he was like, "Yeah, you need to fire them, dude." I was like, "What?" And he's like, "You need to fire them." He's like, no, like go home tonight and do it. It's like the level of aggression and action. Like I can resonate with
Yes.
that. Like it's cool. But he was the same. He's like, no, like they're holding you back. So they're going to hold you back for 3, 4, 6 more months, or they're going to hold you back no more. Like do it right now. So we're constantly doing that in our business. Is pumpkin plant people, right? It's not fun. It's not the fun part of it. But if you're trying to get to where you need to go and you've surpassed a certain level and you're undervaluing yourself, you don't want to take these. You need to take those properties in the beginning. But as soon as you get to a point where like, hey, like I get business easier. This isn't as hard as it used to be. I can say no because
Yes.
I'm making money now. So like there is so much value, and we're slowly as we're adding more and more six-figure properties, phasing out ones that are either costing us money even, right? So I can resonate with that. I like that. The Pumpkin Plan is a great book, especially if you're farther along in business and you realize what you don't want. So I love that. And then what I wanted to ask you was like, okay, now what does your buy box look like, right? It's like what is that? Give me a few metrics that you're looking at. Like obviously there's a revenue perspective, there's probably an owner perspective. Like maybe you don't have it memorized, completely written down, but what does your buy
Oh, I
box look like today?
So we're going through the first steps of the inner circle, which is filling out that life goal, life plan, architecting your life. And part of that is also kind of identifying that for your business. So I'm very acutely aware of what these things are. So for us, we want 3 to 5 bedrooms. We're looking for something that when you plug it into AirDNA, it at least says it'll grow 75K a year. The percentage we've gone back and forth on, and I think it's one of those things where it's like, I don't want to be too aggressive. I don't want to be too cheap. I know I have to go to a flat 20%. The girl I'm taking a call with tonight, this was before all of this, and I quoted her 18%, just pushing the lever just a little bit. And she's like, yeah, okay, yeah. So she'll be the last one that ever gets a really good deal off of us. The other people are trying to figure out how to work that in, but that's a conversation for another time.
Yeah, and that's
And
another
then
that's another level that's another lever you can pull in your pumpkin planning, right? So if you've got 5 or 6 clients that are draining and don't make you money and you sign them at 12%, 15%, hey, starting January 1st, we're going up to 20%. This is what it's worth to me to deal with you. If I even want to
yeah,
keep you as a client, that's what you're going to pay, and that's what the market is calling for anyways. And if I'm the best at what I do, you need to pay me that. And if they don't, then they just pumpkin plan themselves. So it's in
yeah.
a way a great way to still fulfill your duties practicing the pumpkin plan, right?
Yes, yeah, and so that's one of the other things too is we're trying to navigate tech fees. because you sparked something that said that in the back of my mind. We launched and said, well, you're going to laugh, and everybody out there listening, please don't do this. It worked great in the beginning. We launched and said, hey, let's undercut the whole market, right? Let's just come in and be a disruption. And that's what we did. We came in and we said, hey, 10%, I'll take you on. I got loaded up with like, I don't know, 3 or 4 people right off the get-go in my little area where I'm currently owning. And then we said, well, let's take 3 or 4 people at 12, and let's take, the rest at 15. And we just thought we'd be stuck at 15. We were just complacent and content, but you should never get complacent or content. And then about 6 months, I don't know, about 3, 4 months in, we told everyone who was at 10 and 12, like, hey, we're going to 15 and we're going to add $150 a month tech fee. Because my plan was I want to turn all the revenue management over to Emil. And I am good at it. I enjoy it. I'm certainly not the best at it. And I don't have time now to revenue manage 25 people's properties the way that I would like to. And so major backlash, humongous mutiny, trying to backpedal the way out of this, as we're like, we built this up, it was successful, it was a fun run, but baby, I think we just burned the whole fucking thing down. And so that's where we are. We're trying to figure out how do we how do we not lose the entire roster by doing this again. It hasn't even been a full year yet, and giving them 2 bumps, it feels deceitful, manipulative. So we're trying to be gentle and delicate, but I think we may just give everybody a heads up, like, hey, next June when your contracts are up, here's where this will be going. If you don't want to stay with us, we understand. If you want to look now for someone, we understand. You know, and so we're trying to balance, do we put tech fees in? Do we put tech fees not? I don't see a whole lot of people in my region doing tech fees, so I think it hits people as a whatever, but um, it would be beneficial to me because you got to figure the cost, covering the cost of hospitable, price labs, other little out-of-pocket things and softwares that you use and run. And then if you offload to a revenue manager, you're going to eat yourself out in expenses. Like I think I'm covering 25,000 a year in expenses right now. And I think
Yeah, you
that,
could you could maybe make it a instead of just ripping the band-aid off, you could make it a slow burn, right? So like the the people that are at a low rate and there's a crossover between being a pain in the ass to deal with, those will be the ones you hit, package those five up first and figure out whether they're going to stay or not. And then, maybe somebody's at 15% and you raise it on them once, but you talk to them once or twice a year and they never have problems. So it's like, you got to weigh that out too, right? So like, if you're making a little bit of money on them, but they cause you zero problems, well, maybe kick that can down the road a little bit, right? So I think it's a case by case basis.
yeah, that's what my wife has been saying. She's like, we have a few people that are, when they call, draining, but it's not very often that they call. And I'm like, yeah, give those people a break. And then we have a few people where they have 2 or 3 properties. I'm like, well, I'm not going to fire this person. Like, my wife's like, we should let this person go. And it's like, they have 3 properties with us. Their 3 properties together, all gross, 120, $130,000. Like, I'm not going to let that go. That'd just be bad business. But I get your perspective. And I'm like, I'm not trying to avoid it. I'm just simply unsure of my next move, and I'm trying to be calculated and delicate and careful, and realizing that I think as we take 1 on, 2 on that meets that new buy box, that then we can feel more confident in saying bye bye. You know,
Yeah. Because you just raise the standards as you go, and that newest property is like, okay, like that's the new bar, right?
yeah, exactly,
So
Yeah,
exactly.
and I
So
think that we've had a lot of high level conversations too, and I think at some point it kind of was the realization is that it wasn't it was the confidence to where you didn't think that you were worth more than 15%.
yeah,
And yeah, I've been harping at you about tech fees because I've been telling you you're gonna eat yourself. When you've got 100 properties and you're doing that for so low, you're gonna eat yourself out of business. There's really no point at that point. What you know what I mean? What's gonna be the purpose? And I think that like in your situation, I think you need to create like an A through F format, and I think you need to put your property, you need to put what the answer is for all of them. A is like the same, B is like 1%, 2%, C is this, D is this, F is this, and you need to rank all those properties in that way. So like say like you get the C's and you're like, okay, well this one's at 15, I want to get them to 20. So since it's a C, I'm going to move them 2% a year, whatever the case may be. So either they're going to push themselves out or they're not. This one's at F, they're at 15, we're going to 20 next year immediately. You know, this one is a D. We might go 3% with a tech fee this year, and we might go up 2% again, whatever the case may be, right? Because people have to understand, and I would explain it to the owners when they get upset. It's like, look, there's such thing as inflation, right? Things go up, prices go up all the time for things. We're not getting paid what the market is paying. And just so you know, once again, here's this contract from Vacasa that I showed you. They're getting 25%, and I'm doing twice as much work as what they're doing. Right? You have to just sell yourself and you're good at that. But I would just rank your properties in like an A through F format or some kind of format, 1 through 5, whatever you want to, gold stars, who gives a shit. And I would just figure out what the solution is depending on the ranking they fall in. Right. And then go from there. And you rank them with, you know, the revenue and the pain in the ass and the owner, if they're a pain in the ass, rank them in that format together, not just like this one only makes 50 grand a year. Could make 50 grand a year, but the owner cannot bother you at all. It could take you nothing. Your automation could pretty much handle it all. And it's like not a pain in the ass for you at all, besides some batteries, maybe. It might be worth it. It might not be worth it. You know what I mean? So it's like, the way I look at it too is like when I see properties that are lower and I'm like, I mean, I'll take this, but I'll shoot out a percentage higher. I'll be like, no, 26%. I'll have to do over 26. Like I have a guy right now for 25. He came back with a contract later on and he was like, well, people around my area are doing it 15. I said, cool, find them. Go call them. That's not a problem with me. You've had 2 meetings with me. You've asked for my contract. I've sent you the contract. You said you're ready. You implemented all the safety items I told you to do. So if you want to go find somebody else for 15 to save 10%, go for it. And then when it doesn't work out for you and you call me back, I'm going to tell you 28%. That's just the way it's going to be. No, seriously, I'm being honest because it's like, the thing is like, if you're doing something to where like, and I already know you're going to be a pain in the ass because you're asking me for a discount. So I already know if you're going to be a pain in the ass, I'm going to charge you an extra fee. It's just the way it's going to be. It's unfortunate and it's the way it has to go. But how else do you get those people that are bad clients and bad properties out of your wheelhouse? You have to figure out a way to do it. Either you do it slowly like Austin says, or you do it abruptly, and it just depends on what it is. And like you said, your contract, if you have them and they're only a year long, they should only be a year long. I mean, you could also be like, okay, well, that lady 18%, she's super, like say she's super good, she's great, but next year you're like, no, I'm going to push it to 20, I'm going to raise her 2%, right? And she might be like, oh, well, is there any way we could do it at 18? You think, yeah, she's a really good property. Like, you know what? I can do 18 for 2 years. You lock in for 2 years, we could do this, right? Is it worth it for you to save the 2%? It might be, right? So you got to think about things like that too. And it's like, there's just a million different ways to do something. And it's like, that's why we have this podcast. That's why we have people on like you. That's why we have all kinds of different guests, because everybody does everything differently. Everybody does. We've had so many people on here. I run my business a totally different way than Austin ran his business in the beginning. And that's because of the people we interviewed. When we first got on here, I didn't even have a co-host. We had a co-host podcast. I didn't even have any properties that I managed besides my own.
It's almost like you're like, hey, I'm going to give Austin like 6 more months to keep, fucking everything up. And then I'll start. I'm just going to let him just keep going because he's making a lot of mistakes. And then I'll be ready.
Dude,
so it's
okay,
almost like
there was
two realizations.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
What's that, Justin? There was 2 realizations with Austin's business that got me thinking when we were doing this podcast. One time he was telling me like, oh, I have all the credit cards and it's starting to become hard to manage them all. And I'm like, okay, fuck, that's a problem. Don't do that, Matt. And then there was another time when he told me he had like all these outstanding invoices, or he had like all this debt that he had to get reimbursed for. And it was some absurd amount. He said, I don't remember what it was. It was some thousands of outstanding dollars.
That was a lesson learned from you, by the way.
Yeah. And I thought in my head, like, yeah, fuck that. I'm not doing that. And then, it's like I've learned a ton from Austin. I mean, Austin is one of my really good friends and we talk all the time about all kinds of stuff. And somehow I keep providing him value and I appreciate that, Austin. I don't know how, but hey, I mean, you learn from people. It's the way things go, man. It's the way it goes.
So, so I want to go back on one thing. Another thing you can do, like in regards to your situation, outsell what you're replacing. So focus on, so like what we'll do is like we'll look at what we added to our inventory over the quarter, right? So January, February, March, for example. We started pumpkin planning hard in January, and we've let at this point probably 15 go, and I think it's going to be 20 by the end of this year. But we're looking at this every day because it's so serious, and we were looking at these properties that were either, they maybe we weren't making money, and then the same correlation of us not making money was taking our time, and they were the
Hmm.
difficult owners. And then what does that lead to? It was a lower quality property. What does that lead to? A lower quality guest. So all these things stockpile, and then when you go into the luxury real estate space, you get somebody that pays a high price. You never hear from them. They leave. The client that you're serving has money. They're not involved in the day to day. So we realize this and pivoted our entire business. So we're at, I think, like 15-ish properties we've pumpkin planned since January. What are we doing though? We're outselling that. So we're looking at the end of the quarter. We're like, hey, how much gross booking value did we add? So let's say it's 800,000. Okay, well, we can package up 7, 8 properties here combined that are doing 200. They're all gone because we've already further replaced that income. And if you can do that, so once you say your new buy box is 75, so let's go sign 100K properties, and I have that in the bag now. Okay, now that I've signed 200,000 in gross booking value, let's shave off 100. How many properties can I put together to get rid of 100 grand? Well, I'm still netting a total of 200 because I'm overselling what I'm getting rid of. And I think that's
Right.
another thing that's been successful for us. And if we look at our portfolio, just overdoing that starting this January, like our portfolio of properties we manage is night and day, and we're not done yet. So I think that's another thing. And I think Matt said a good point too, is like, this is not just for you, obviously. This is for all the listeners as well. Ranking them. That's a good one. We have like a ranking system. I don't know if we use the pumpkin plan model or whatever, but we spent 2 hours, me and my partners, and we went through all 65 listings or whatever it was at the time. And we did every single one. And whatever rating system it came out to, based on revenue, based on owners, based on the kind of property it was it luxury, was it old, and we exactly what Matt said. And then we came out to a certain rank, and we said anything over this ranking system, it's just math. They're all gone. But the main point is that like you want to just be selling more than you're replacing. So you can do that. Just go sign some more. And then if you're nervous about, oh, what am I going to do? How am I going to do? Just sign them first. And then you're like, oh shit, well, I already signed them. I can go back there. And don't get too caught up in the tech fee thing. Add the tech fee, add your percentage. And to Matt said that's the way it is, and don't deviate from that. Just because, I mean, at the end of the day, you're better value than the people that are managing 200 plus listings. Maybe for the most part, you should be, because you have more attention, you have more hands on your business, you're still actively involved. So don't sell yourself short. It sounds like you've already realized that on your own, but there's so much value in working with a smaller boutique property manager that can give your property the attention it is, and you shouldn't sell yourself short. If anything, you should sell yourself more than what those other competitors are charging. So that's my 2 cents on there. But I think that was a lot of good stuff that Matt also unpacked too. And that wasn't just geared towards you. I really just kind of wanted to share that for other people that are in that situation, like that would hopefully help.
No, I think you're spot on, man. We're at the point where we're going to put it in the agreement. We've gone back completely back to the basics, which is hard to do while you're actively managing, co-hosting, whatever, what you have in front of you, and revisiting the contract, the agreement, the terms, the systems, the processes. We hired a VA. We didn't have a VA. We've been doing 25. At the one point, we were up to 25, I think. We're doing 25 properties, just Leslie and I, and automation, which was not easy. We were bootstrapping it there for a while. And, we giggle. I think I listened to one of your guys' podcasts. It was you, a couple from Michael, and everyone's like, oh, well, we hit 4 properties. We got a VA. We hit 5. We got a VA. And my wife is laughing. She's in tears. She's like, babe, we have 25 properties and we're just now getting a VA. I'm like, well, you don't know what you don't know, you know? You don't know. I didn't know. I thought VAs they're worth every penny, but because they're mostly from a different country, the currency is different. How they'd be wildly expensive, you know, that it would eat every penny that we put into the business.
Nope, you just need one decent property to take care of it.
Mhm.
You know, I love when we have episodes like this, especially when people come on there and we're talking to you, and then you're in a current situation that you're in, so that way, you know, Austin can give his 2 cents, I can give my 2 cents, and you give your 2 cents. I feel like that provides a lot of value for everybody, for the listeners, and for us especially. It provides value for me. I appreciate you coming on, and you know, with the VA thing, we'll actually have an episode next week or week after next. We're recording on some VAs, so that'll hopefully help everybody, you know, recruit and train VAs, things like that. But yeah, I want to say, really, I do value your time and you coming on here. I do want to shout out, you know, real quick. I know you said that you use HostBuddy. If you guys use HostBuddy, use Cohostbros, and you'll get a month for free. So if you just use our code, just pop it in there, Cohostbros, and you'll get a month for free. We got that exclusively for you guys. But yeah, Justin, just tell everybody where they can find you, and we're gonna wrap it up. It's been an hour. I gotta get back to my social media videos. No, I'm just kidding. But
Let's do
yeah,
it. So, Instagram at co-host Seabrook. Facebook, you can just find me at Justin Powell, P as in Paul, Owell. Seabrook VM is our Facebook page. And am I nuts if I give out my business number?
do what you want to do. You want to give out your phone number to people to call you, go ahead. But when people start texting you, don't start blaming me. When you start charging
Okay.
them, to talk to you, make sure I get a percentage.
All
I'm
right.
just
So it's
kidding.
256-445-8577.
Awesome.
Hell yeah.
Oh, thanks. Hell yeah. Yeah, this is fire. So thank you so much again, and we appreciate it. And you know, thanks. I'll let Austin just end it out for us.
All right. Thank y'all for listening. Peace.